Welcome to another episode of my Motortown playthrough. Today we are back on Hokiroshi's server again with my other character. And today it's time to talk about the Shoven 7. This is something that I tested a bit during the private testing phase, but besides that, I've largely ignored it. It didn't really occur to me what we need this trailer for. There is also the Shoven 10, and after all, we can also just hook on a full-length semi-trailer to any truck and Linky combination. So these two are often getting a bit of a short end of the stick. But I think I found a particularly good reason to have this one. So we are going to try it out today, see how well it performs and if it's actually any good for what I think it might be useful for. Of course, depending on what you want to do, there's always it's always nice to have another trailer that has a different capacity, especially if you want to transport items that either come in lower quantity or aren't that large to begin with, because that's going to help you with cargo scaling. But well, I want to see if this one is particularly good at a really demanding job. So let's drive it into the tuning garage and check things out. See if we can apply a few upgrades and make it maybe even a bit better. But, Jesus Christ, this is already going a bit wrong. Let's just ignore that, and first up let's start by repainting. I could go with black, that would definitely be a neutral color here, but maybe let's just go with dark red. Yeah. I think that's a good color. It's also going to be fitting for the other vehicle which I need as a tractor today. We are going to see all of it in a moment. Not going to bother with any decals, but we should increase the brake strength. Also switch off the brake pads while at it, just to be safe. Suspension, I don't really know how much stronger it needs to be, so I'm just gonna go with maybe 200%. That should be alright. Actually, that might be a bit hard. These I don't think are too soft by default. So I'm just gonna go with 150% and of course stronger dampers over here. Ride height I would usually even go a bit lower, but I think for what we are going to be using it, it might be better to keep it high. These trailers are usually a bit high by default, but this might not be the worst thing. And yes, we are gonna go off-road. So I'm making the whole thing a bit wider. I'm going to not switch off the tires because, yeah, 8 tons per tire means 16 per axle. And that's definitely gonna be good enough. What do you want to load into this thing in order to make it heavier than that? Given that some of the load will also be on the tractor, so we should be good here. But yeah, I would like the Golema wheels because I love those. Aerodynamics, it doesn't have a spoiler sadly, so we're not gonna do anything there. It doesn't come with any attachments, so we are good here. Oh god. Let's try and get out of here and then drive over to the pickup location for our cargo that I want to transport here. We might also make a little comparison between bringing the cargo directly to the location and going via a warehouse. I mean, at this point I might as well say it. I want to try this with planks to the mines. Don't know why that guy is coming through there, but sure. So yeah, the thing about planks to the mines is that it pays absolutely abysmally, but if you go in with either the Limusi Semi and the Shoven 10 or Olbe trailer, you're going to be able to load on 6 planks, and that's gonna be a pain to deal with. Of course, you can go with something lower, like only 4, which will be 1 stack lower on the whole thing. but that's also not gonna help you with cargo scaling, so having a trailer that should only be able to hold 3 of them might be the better idea. So I wanted to try this today, and we are going to see how that pays out. I think it's still gonna be abysmal, but at the very least it should be much less of a job to get it done. But yeah, we can also check and compare the prices between this and loading it towards the storage and going from there. Just gonna keep in mind what those are. We're just gonna see it once we get to the lumber mill. I hope there's gonna be some cargo left to that, but I don't see why it wouldn't be. People don't do these jobs too often unless they absolutely have to in order to keep the mine stock. But yeah, we'll see about it. These are really tough jobs, I've done them before, but this time around it should be quite a bit easier because we are only loading half as much. I don't think it will ever be worth it because the payouts here are absolutely garbage for planks. But I wanna try it anyways. So let's check. Maybe sort the destination. So we have the plank storage and we have the 2 mines. So much about the plank storage. Thank you, game. I think I wanna go to the coal mine. And yeah, we can only load 3 bunches of planks here, so that's alright. That should give us 45k, which for the lower amount of stuff that we are carrying right now shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, I would like to compare this to the storage facility. So this is giving us 15.3k for 1 single plank. The plank storage would give us 3.6k. Okay, the bonus is a bit lower, but who cares about that? So maybe it's gonna be around 4k for that part of the journey if we had the full bonus there. So let's drive this over and then check the prices at the storage facility, at which point we'll also have to change over to the Limusi. I mean, this shouldn't be too bad, but I don't think this truck will be able to pull the trailer up to the mines. I don't know what they're talking about there. Another exploity thing. Again, I don't really judge, but I don't judge them for that, but I don't really care to be part of that discussion, so I'm just gonna ignore chat for the time being. I hope the devs fix the stuff at some point. I know how the exploits work. I've been one of the people trying to get the devs' attention to those, but yeah. So far they haven't been addressed. I wonder if maybe just taking the CUDA truck or something to this would have been the better idea. The 4x2 truck should be able to handle this, maybe. Having a rigid truck over a truck and trailer combination is not the worst idea. Usually works out a bit better, but I'm not entirely sure if it would be the case here. The thing is, the game always loads the stuff as far forward as possible. So for the rigid truck, that would mean that a decent amount of weight would be on the steering wheels, which isn't really too much of a problem. It can help sometimes, but also, yeah, you want a lot of traction on the rear axle. So with this combination, as long as the stuff is loaded in quite a bit forward, I don't know how far to the back the plank is going this one, I haven't looked inside here. We should have a lot of traction on our driven axle, and that's exactly what we want here. I'll have to check it at some point. But yeah, I hope that the exploits also get fixed at some point. I don't want that to be the main talking point about how to make money in this game. Sometimes some of these things can be fun, like the shortcut, but right now it's a bit much. And we are also several weeks into the new update, and people are still making that the topic of conversation, so yeah, I hope it gets addressed at some point. Another thing that I want to see addressed, and that's something that I brought up and really discovered doing my comparison video between the Atlas box truck with trailer and the Lobo and Lobo van, just not being able to have the pallets load free wide in those trailers and everything. Kinda defeats the point of larger capacity vehicles here. But yeah, I'll be driving around the mountain road over here and then towards the storage facility. Switch over to the where we got one of the semis anyways, and then just go from there into the Guangjin area. Oh, Jesus Christ. You know what, if we stop here anyways, let's just have a quick look inside. Yeah, there's still a decent amount of weight in the, or decent amount of space in the back, so the weight is really quite a bit to the front. Which is also helping me get up the hill here, otherwise I might not have enough traction. But yeah, apart from the top heaviness of the entire load due to there being a triple stack of planks there, this is really going quite well. Also, I really wish they found out and fixed whatever is going on with traffic right here, because this really shouldn't be that much of a problem. And it's always on the northbound side of the road here. I don't know what's going on. I tried figuring out what's happening, but it seems like it's not gonna be there if you're only starting the session. I even tried with decently high traffic numbers. But yeah, even on something like 100%, the traffic density is behaving way different than before. Oh, Jesus Christ. No, 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 no. Stop it. Whew. Okay, back on track. Hopefully not getting another one of those scares, but I think there will be more from how this whole thing has been handling. But yeah, comparatively, I expect the Guangjin area to be a bit more of a blast now. I've done this with twice the load. It was possible, if not very demanding. But yeah, this should be far easier. So might be another one of those slightly longer videos, but hey, I wanted to try this out, and I don't think it's gonna be worth making 2 videos on this trailer right now. I've also... Jesus Christ. Okay, never mind. This thing completely got away from me. I think there might not be enough force on the rear wheels in order to make the braking happen well enough. Oh, that's where the interaction box is. It wasn't really what I wanted to do, but I did it anyways. Although that's not a bad idea. Extending the landing gear before resetting. So I should be able to dock back in now. Accidental genius, I would say. But yeah, I've been thinking about the last video a bit more, and maybe there was another thing that I could have done with the CUDA live fish truck. Maybe there was an opportunity to hook on the Tenko 40 and do some milk deliveries. I don't know if my cheese factory isn't full yet. I think it most likely is. But yeah, if that's empty, you could go with the live fish truck to Seongsang, then just drive on the dirt road there to get to the ranch that has all the milk available. A lot of people don't even know that there are two ranches in this game, and one of them has much more capacity than the other. But yeah, you could fully load up the Tenko 40 there and then bring it over to the milk place on the way. But I'm not entirely sure if it's still possible to do that and keep the delivery going. Just keep the speed bonus. I mean, maybe it might be a good idea to even just go to the industrial area and just park the trailer there. Just unhook it and keep going instead of trying to reverse into the area and unload everything. And unload it once the fish is delivered and you are not under time pressure anymore. Should have turned on the Jake brake way earlier. I always forget about it. But yeah, 1.7 kilometers straight ahead shouldn't be too difficult, right? If only it wasn't at the top of a mountain. But yeah, I'll be turning on to the dirt road in a moment, and then we should be almost at the storage. Maybe I shouldn't be going too fast considering what just happened with the trailer. Don't wanna get another incident if I can avoid it. The thing started stepping out on me already. Didn't even have the time to engage the indicators. I really wanted to, but I had to keep a thumb on my steering stick. Yeah, I think slightly reinforcing the springs wasn't a bad idea. Jeez. Yeah, it's just going to completely whip around the tractor. I'm not sure how much different it's going to be with the Jimusi, but we won't be going that quickly anymore. This is likely gonna be a way longer episode than what I wanted to do, but here we are. I could have also just taken the stuff directly from the storage facility. I think there should be enough there, but didn't want to rely on it. Okay, slow down. Easy does it. But yeah, let's check how much money this would make for the last job. So for the coal, that's 6.5k. We get another around 4k for the first part of the delivery, so that would be 10.5, but we are doing it for over 15k. So once again, Just like with the ores, or at least with coal for what I checked, the deliveries are worth much less if you are using the storage facility. Doing it directly is much more profitable, and that's also what I'm doing here today. So always gonna keep that in mind. I also recently bought another Atlas 6x4 because I wanted to actually have one with a 6-speed transmission, just as an alternative to always using the Golema whenever I need a 6x4 heavy duty semi. But yeah, I've tried the 6x2, it doesn't really do it for me. The lift axle thing is kinda cool, but I wish it was a lift or a mid lift. A lift mid or something, whatever. Whatever I was about to say there a moment ago. Anyways, let's try this one, and this is already looking pretty ridiculous. But yeah, this should be easy as pie. Oh god, this thing is... I already noticed how unstable it is. After all, the Jimusi is a comparatively smaller truck compared to at least the Atlas and other heavy-duty semis. So this is gonna try and flip over quite often here, I can already tell. But yeah, we should pull it up anything that we encounter here. I bet there's going to be a few instances where the winch is going to be needed, but it never should be anywhere near as tough as with double the planks. And this is definitely helping the payout a little bit. But yeah, personally, I like the challenge that comes from having 6 of these planks on the Olber. But I think for anybody who just wants to help out a multiplayer server, keep the mines supplied, this might be the better choice here. Might still be a bit early to call because we haven't made the full journey yet, but I mean, from a pure logic standpoint, this shouldn't be too much of a problem. And the other stuff that I've seen definitely is a problem. I've also seen somebody try to do it with a full-size semi-trailer, one of the flankers. But here on the server we have a lot of times where people just help out each other, so if you got enough people you can also make a stupid idea work. And it's gonna be a fun adventure for everybody involved, so that's also kinda cool in its own right. But yeah, the trailer really wants to step out on me, so that's dangerous. Okay, nice and slow. Or at least somewhat slow. I mean, we are making good progress here. But so far this is the easy part of the journey anyways. If we encountered any major problems on this part, we would be in real trouble for the rest of it. Yeah, it's just gonna try and flip around. I don't even know how realistic it is. There are 15 tons worth of planks in there. I know they are stacked up really high, so the center of mass for that might be at around the roofline of the Jimusi, so that's not really amazing. But this almost feels like the trailer wants to fly away, like what the fuck was that? Also it was a decent amount of damage, so I'm not too happy about that, but I mean... Don't know if I should have expected that to happen. But yeah, the center of mass for the trailer is gonna be really far forward. It's gonna be decently high. So that doesn't really speak to this being an amazing setup. Could maybe use a lowboy trailer for this kind of thing if we had something like that. Not even like the Lomace, but really, there are a few trailers where the actual cargo bed is going quite far down. So the front is a bit lifted up because we need the kingpin to go over the fifth wheel of the tractor. And the rear needs to be up because that's where the wheels of the trailer are. But in between there is like it's hanging low in order to keep a low center of mass. And something like that would be really helpful just about now. I could have also gone for only 2 planks, but at that point we are barely transporting anything, so it wouldn't be worth it. I think for 2 planks we could also use the Tronco. We would be missing out on all the off-road doodads from the Jimusi, but I mean that would be a rigid truck at least. 6x4 nonetheless, so I don't know. But I like this one. Even though this particular combination is working out a bit worse than I expected, especially on braking. Come on, do a turn. I would be almost tempted to make this into a 2-parter, but I also think, yes, I'm gonna be that long from this point on. Could have maybe cut it at the Zhengzhou storage, but I don't know. I like making long videos, even though right now I'm not really doing all that well myself, so yeah. Talking with a sore throat isn't that great. But maybe I should repair this thing before we get up to the coal mine. At least to that. I got a Campy on my character, so I can just go to the parking lot and spawn that in, go over to the other place to repair and then come back with that. Might be a good idea. I don't want to fight overheating and that kind of thing with everything else going on here. And that trailer, when it spun out on me the last time, it really threw me into a tree, which is why I got this damage to begin with. Jesus Christ. You know what, might be better to just let it fall over. Not try to fight it. I might also go and record another TXR video at some point. My idea was to actually keep away from it until we get the full update, but they recently announced that they are going to delay it until the end of September. So I think we are going to keep the game as it is right now for a bit longer before we get all the new cars and new rivals and everything. Which I was looking forward to, but honestly in the current state of that game, I'm more happy to see them delay the whole thing and try to polish it up a little bit more. The game isn't really where I want it to be right now, so yeah. The stuff that they said they wanted to address might be really good in the end. And I'd rather them take the time and get something amazing out than something that is a bit of a mixed bag. Yeah, somebody's hauling a lot of planks over there. That might be 9 planks if the same stuff is loaded into the truck itself there. I might have to help out a little bit here. Let's see. Oh, Jesus Christ, this is... Come on. You know what, we are going to do this a bit differently. I'm going to get Brutus, and we are going to do this in 2 steps. So I'll bring over the truck to the parking lot, and then we are going to do this in as a 2-parter, and part of that will be trying to help out that guy, even though I'm not too certain that what he is attempting there is feasible. But yeah, I'll be leaving it off over here, and by next time we'll see if we can make it work. So thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed. Next time is gonna be a fun one, depending on how that turns out. So I'm gonna get the Campy out just in case, because I would very much like to repair my truck. And yeah, until next one, have a good one, and bye bye.